Hi, scholars. We're here to talk about another battle of the American Revolution. But before we talk about that battle, we've got to talk about the Battle of New York, which happened in the spring and the fall of 1776. Really, it was one battle, but it started building up from spring. George Washington and his army had moved into New York City to take over, but the British wanted it back. So, all through the summer, they started sending warships and sending more warships. And eventually, in the fall, there was a huge battle. But you know what? The Continental Army lost. They lost big time. It was a huge defeat for them. So, they had to retreat all the way through New Jersey and all the way down to Pennsylvania. When they got to Pennsylvania, it was winter and morale was low. They had suffered a lot of defeats, and now they were cold, they were underfed, men were dying from lack of warm clothing and food and from disease, and some of them started to desert. To desert the army means to leave without permission. And Washington realized that he needed to do something in order to keep more soldiers from leaving and really losing the whole war. So, what he decided to do was to attack the Hessians in Trenton, New Jersey. The Hessians were German mercenaries who were hired by the British to fight for the British during the American Revolution. And this is what one of their uniforms might have looked like. Those tall hats are sort of iconic for German Hessians during World War II. Not only did they decide to attack, but they were going to do something unheard of. They were going to attack on Christmas Day. It was very unusual to fight battles in the winter during the American Revolution, and unheard of to try to start a battle on Christmas Day. This is a very important painting called Washington Crossing the Delaware. And it's really a glorified version of what really would have happened. Because when Washington crossed the Delaware on Christmas night, first of all, it was nighttime. Secondly, they were plagued by terrible weather. There was a really bad snowstorm. So if they had crossed in a little rowboat like this, standing up, they would have gotten knocked over. Really, probably what they did was cross over on barges, and they probably were all sitting down. When they got across the river, they then had to march 9 miles through the snowstorm with all of their cannons and other weapons to the city of Trenton, where they attacked from the north. It was a surprise attack on Christmas morning. The Hessians were all tired from partying the night before, so they were unprepared and they lost. Washington captured 892 Hessians, and only 2 of the Americans died during the battle. And they didn't die from fighting, they died from the cold. But after the battle, many of the soldiers continued to die from cold and from disease. Most importantly, what this battle did do is it restored morale for the American soldiers. They realized that they could win this war, and they decided to stay and fight on. What you're going to do is you're going to do a quizzes that is in another post in Google Classroom Social Studies. So please go to that quizzes. You can take that quizzes as many times as you want, as long as you keep learning. I want everybody to remember that we miss you. We want you to stay safe and keep learning so that we can see you in the 6th grade next year. Bye-bye.